Let's get connected, embracing technology and social media. So thanks to Janet, Kathleen, Chantal, Hannah, and Jackie for this presentation.
Hello, everybody. My name is Janet Hunt. I'm with Middlesex, Elgin. I've been the president there for this is my last year in that term. And last night at the president's meeting, we did a really neat survey, some discussion about mental health during COVID, mental health of nurses. And one of the top experience or feeling that people had, and that has been supported by the literature, is tiredness, fatigue, exhaustion. And I must admit, I am the normal person. I have been totally exhausted by COVID. The new learning, the new use of technology, the infection control stuff that probably I learned and did know, but still had so much more to learn, and supporting those around me. And the last thing that I wanted to do when I got home from work was to go to my executive, who are also exhausted, and talk about what we can do to maintain chapter activity, to maintain chapter engagement, to support our members in another new way. Everybody reached rock. Personally, I felt like I reached rock bottom and had no energy left. And for an RNAO member of so many years and so many, that energy was gone from me, and I really, really missed it. So I have to do a huge shout out to Daniel. You put out a call looking for volunteers, and I said, I've got to do it. I can't laugh this year. I really can't. But giving me an opportunity to get together with this wonderful group from Kathleen and Jackie and Chantal and Carrie Edwards at Home Office. When we started talking about what our membership presentation would be, it just morphed. It came out to how do we engage with members in this new way. And Chantal and Jackie shared how they have done it successfully within their interest groups and chapters. And so I'm only here to introduce the stars and to thank them for sharing with me their learning, because they really have embraced the social medias, use them to interact with members, to gain new members, to connect with others beyond their members, and to help spread the word of RNAO and what we stand for, and the work that we're doing beyond the four walls of a hotel room or a meeting room or a hospital or a work venue. So I'm going to hand over. I'm literally just emceeing. I'm going to be handing over. Kathleen, I think I said I would go to you first because Kathleen's going to talk a little bit about the how-tos on using social media and what we have to be mindful of and how we can engage others. So if I've got it right, I think Ifra's going to start Kathleen's presentation, and then I will just put myself on mute. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Janet. Can everyone hear me? Thumbs up. Good. So yes, I'm Kathleen from the Durham, Northumberland chapter. And first off, we just wanted to provide a little bit of an overview about social media and how we can use social media platforms to engage with our members, obviously in light of doing things virtually, because we can't get together at this time. So in last night's interest group and chapter meetings, as Janet said, they discussed about using Zoom, and some of us are going to touch upon that. And I'm just going to start by also introducing some of the other social media platforms or sites that we've used or that you could use to benefit and grow your membership and also connect. And then each of us are going to kind of share our own personal ideas or what we've done to maybe, again, share ideas about things that you can do within your own chapters or interest groups. So I first want to start by a disclaimer and say that I am not a social media or communications expert. I'm a nurse, and so but I do use social media a lot, as many of you probably do, for getting your news or just connecting. So Ifra, could you go to the next slide? So social media platforms. So they are a way to engage in a social context. It's a way to have conversations, comments on these platforms, and then also share multimedia content, such as pictures, videos, annotations, or emojis or other types of interactions. And I'm just going to briefly touch upon the three main social media platforms that most people use or scroll through on a daily basis. So Twitter, RNAO and Doris and many of us are very active on Twitter. So it's a platform that really allows you to even really engage with complete strangers, people that you don't even know. You can follow, you can retweet, you can even comment or chat with them. So, and it's really a way to start conversations and then have that online conversation about things that are ranging from relatively mundane all the way to incredibly important topics such as our RNAO advocacy work. So it's used to get information out with usually as little words as possible. Unfortunately, Twitter does have a character limit of 280 characters per tweet or post. But you can also then have comments and conversations back and forth with each other through these tweets. So a lot of people will comment, retweet, or have Twitter chats where you kind of like tag along on each other's posts and then repost and reshare. Facebook has been around for quite some time, and I'm sure many of you also are on Facebook. And the thing that I would highlight about Facebook and the difference between doing things from a personal way versus doing things from an interest group or chapter way is that you would want to create a page, because pages are public and shareable, and people can like and interact with your page or share your content, and then it would show up on someone else's newsfeed. So if you're looking to, interest groups are looking to further reach new members, or same with chapters, if you have a page and then people can like and share your posts, it shows up on their newsfeed, which then their friends will also see and hopefully click and like as well. The other great thing about Facebook is that you can create a group. So if you wanted, you could even create like a group for your chapter members, and they could have a conversation back and forth, or share content with each other about what's new going on in their workplaces or communities, that sort of thing. And you can also create an event online there and then have people join or make comments, discussion posts about the event. And Facebook also has that Facebook Live feature. So I don't know if some of us have tried, I haven't personally tried it, but you could also do a Facebook Live with your members that way as well. And then Instagram is a very visual-based social media site with basically a wall of images. And it's great for visual, or it's really meant for visual content, not as much discussion or text content. It's more, as I said, visual and pictures. It's rapidly growing and expanding, and there's many different things that you can do with Instagram, and it's a lot of younger people are very Instagram savvy. So there's videos you can do, stories, very cool and creative ways to share content. So Ifra, could you go to the next slide? So just wanted to kind of give a little bit of a
Sorry, Kathleen.
How these. Sorry, go ahead, Doris.
Just one little minute. The only one that is not there, and I don't know about it either, except that I can tell you, and Marianne will hear this for the first time, that the chairperson of the family practice of the OMA asked me, and we're going to do together a TikTok. Now, I know TikTok only for my grandkids. I have never even experienced TikTok, but we are going to TikTok about the work of primary care. So here you go. We will start to add another one. That's the newest generation.
Yes, thank you, Doris. As you can see, there are very many, and they're growing. They're growing in popularity. So we do need to keep up with the times in order to keep up with connecting with people, because I think we might be connecting in a virtual way for a little while. So if you look, Twitter, you would say, I'm going to eat a donut. On Facebook, you might say, you might like posts or things about donuts. Instagram would be like you taking a picture about a donut. YouTube is another site where you could post and create a video of you eating donuts. LinkedIn is another one. You could post skills about how you eat donuts and how great you are at doing so. Pinterest would be things about posting a recipe for how you could make your own donuts at home. And then Snapchat, again, they're little short videos, similar kind of to TikTok, where you could take a picture or video, make a video of you eating donuts. So that's something just to share. I thought that would be interesting after we took our quote unquote lunch break for us. And you can see how the different platforms obviously allow you to do different things. So some social media tips that I've come across and that would be supported by RNAO would be to use the RNAO or dedicated interest group as your logo picture when you're creating your online profile. And color scheme, you want to obviously take that into consideration too, to use colors that maybe align with RNAO or your interest group when you're creating posts and sharing content. And then get visual. The most popular posts tend to include visuals such as pictures, videos, and not always just plain text or text heavy. The other, and so some ideas about how to get visual, even in this light, when we can't get together and have group photos, would be just like what we just did with taking a group photo or video with all of us that Marianne just did. You could take a photo of events, you could take a quote, or make your own infographic. So, and the posting. So here's some tips about actually posting. To be short and smart. A lot of us, we're just scrolling through social media to get content or to be updated about something, or we're not always likely there to read longer posts, although some people do have longer posts, but it's best to keep them short. So Twitter does have that 280 character limit per post. Facebook and Instagram has no limit, but is recommended to be about 1 to 2 sentences. Be sure to use hashtags. So hashtags will allow you to promote a larger conversation. Like a very common hashtag would be on Polly, which has to do with something political in Ontario. And a lot of people will follow that hashtag and get their news or find out what's going on in politics from that on Polly hashtag. And it's also a great idea to connect with people about the same topic, such as hashtag nursing or hashtag long-term care, and also to help your non-followers see your content. So then if people are following that hashtag, they will see that when they search it, and then they might click on your posts and come over and follow you and join you as well. Be active on social media. So that's another important thing is to post fairly regularly if you can. The best time to post and promote engagement is usually, quote unquote, in those daytime hours when people are on their devices or scrolling through social media. Next slide. Another few tips would be when people do message you or the interest group or the chapter to answer their questions or to thank people for their comments and responses. So maybe having obviously someone dedicated within your chapter or interest group to monitor that site is a good idea. And as I said, you can use social media to promote your events, which will help you to further increase registration and attendance. Sometimes I hear from some of our chapter members that they don't always read all of the emails that come from RNAO, but they're likely to see our posts on social media. Use your resources. So use ENOs that have had experience. We've been very successful with recruiting nursing students who have also helped us and have some of that time and tech savvy awareness to do posts on our social media sites. And I've also found that every time that we send out an email or we have an event, I also take that time to promote our social media sites. So I always include like what our handle is for Twitter or for Facebook, actually how to search us, and same with on Instagram. So if you could just go to the next slide. So I'm just going to share a little bit about what we've done from Durham Northumberland chapter to remain connected with our members and promote supporting each other. So we've done a series of these posts with collages where you can see like each person holding up a sign with a word. We started with the Together We Can Do It campaign that RNAO started back in the early days of the COVID-19 pandemic. And a lot of our students actually really took this on and went with it and did, again, a series of posts online, which was really great. And I found that they were really likely to engage and people were seeing themselves because they could relate to those pictures. They see each other. So that was a way that we found to promote our chapter, but to support each other and remain connected. If you could go to the next slide. And then we also did a series of posts in the early days of the pandemic, trying to uplift each other, as many of us have touched upon, that self-care, mental health, and wellness. So sharing posts related to hashtag Monday Motivation. What we saw in the early days, again, of this pandemic was a lot of recognition and support for our frontline healthcare workers or those essential workers. And so we wanted to also show our members that our community cares, and this is how they're caring. So, and really to support each other so that we have that motivation to kind of get through the week and make it through those tough and challenging times in our work. So there was Stay at Home Ajax. We found this picture online. The kindness rocks this is a picture from one of the local hospitals where a lot of kids made these rocks and dropped them off for essential workers. And if you could go to the next slide. And then we did a few posts about Sunday shout out or Spotlight Sunday, where again, we called upon nursing students or any members could send in shout outs for colleagues about the amazing work that they're doing. Again, to really just show that we care and that we're there to support each other. So that's a little bit about what we've done in Durham, Northumberland. And it's been great to grow our social media following online in a way, again, to stay connected. So I'm going to hand things over next to Chantal from the Pediatric Nursing Interest Group.
Okay, hi everybody. Thanks so much. It's nice to see everybody's faces, even though we can't all be together. We were really excited to kind of put together some quick tips and tricks for everyone and for PedNIG to be able to be involved in this, because we really worked hard at being able to be able to share our social media posts and all the work that we've done over the last few years or so. I would say that I think PedNIG historically in the last, I would say maybe 5 or 6 years, has worked really hard at growing our social media and the platforms that we use and how we're reaching out to our members. And I think part of that has to do with kind of the grouping of our members and kind of the populations we're seeing where our membership kind of comes from. So historically, if you look at a lot of pediatric nurses, a lot of people come into pediatrics early on in their career, maybe turn over into other types of positions. So we see a lot of students who are really eager to join PedNIG as students and then perhaps stay on as RN members. But we also really wanted to kind of be able to reach out a little bit better to some of our established nurse members who have been part of PedNIG and RNAO for a long time as well. So we've kind of been fine-tuning, you could say, how we're using our social media. So myself and Hannah Gregor, who can't be here today, but she's our president-elect and was our previous social media officer, just kind of put together some examples of how we've utilized social media for people to see what the possibilities could be if this is something that you're able to use as your chapter or interest group. So I think Kathleen really highlighted, the important points about keeping things nice and short and sweet, what types of platforms are better to share different types of content. Really, when you're talking about social media, you want to get those quick tidbits of information in, right? So it's not an email, it's not a long document that's being sent out. You want the things that are going to be either eye-catchy or those little sound bites. So I'm actually really glad that Doris brought up about TikTok, because PedNIG is in the works of developing a TikTok for some of our educational components that we're going to be doing in the spring. So stay tuned for that. We'll come back and share that with you guys, but I'll talk a little bit about how we've utilized that on other platforms as well. And I think when Kathleen emphasized, keeping things short and sweet, keeping them concise, making things look really eye-catchy, those are the things that are going to draw people's attention, especially in this new virtual world that we are in now. People are overwhelmed with the amount of emails and messages and meetings and everything that we have going on, right? So how do you stand out from all of the other thousands of posts that people are seeing per day, right? So really how best to use social media in the context of RNAO and the work that we're doing. You really want to see how you can engage your current followers and new followers. For us, we've really been able to utilize this as a platform to advocate for our patient population that we serve and represent and disseminating health information. And then we've also worked really hard to build our social media and brand presence. So we pretty much have all of the social media platforms, which I'll show you guys in a moment. But we've created a pretty strong online presence with Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We've also spent quite a bit of time in terms of enhancing our current website. So there were a lot of links that were broken, a lot of content that was not up to date. People couldn't really find out about who we were as a team. So we really focused on, getting someone being able to see who their face is on our executive and where they work, what their background is, so students or other nurses can reach out to us as a support or a resource too. And then be able to hold our events online has been another thing that we've done, especially this year with the pandemic, and then engaging both current and new PedNIG members. So this past year in the pandemic situation, we obviously had lots of great events planned, like pretty much everybody else, I think, that's on this call today. But one thing that we did that was really neat and innovative and was a great opportunity for us was being able to do a Nursing Week campaign. And so for National Nursing Week, we did a really unique contest, which we wanted to share with you guys today. And some of the stats, we just wanted to share what the impact, the so what of the numbers piece. So we had 16,000 reaches on Facebook and 758 shares of this post. And this was at the beginning of the pandemic, just before our contest, when we put this post out to say, thank you to everybody who's putting themselves on the line, who's doing the great work, who sometimes is not feeling appreciated or, really being recognized for the great work that we're doing. And we really wanted to give back to our members in some way, even though we couldn't do the traditional things we normally would for Nursing Week. So from there, so we had 120 comments on that post, 190 entries for our giveaway contest, 84 new Instagram followers from these posts alone, and 70% of the people who commented actually became followers. So I think that's the other thing that we really wanted to highlight. Sometimes it's not about just only providing services or providing content to people who pay for your membership right now, because those people could become your members in the future. And I think this is the way of the future, being able to kind of see how do we reach out to new people and grow this RNAO family that we're all a part of. We also had 330 Instagram views and 571 views on Twitter. And we kind of focus, I would say the majority of our content that we share on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, just because a lot of it, again, is very visually focused and is kind of those short snippets, but that's where we find we have the most engagement. So this was kind of the post based off of our Instagram that we had for our Nurses Week giveaway. And then there was some description, and I'll show you a quick video of that. And then we actually also released a WhyINurse PedNIG Nursing Week video, which I'll share with you guys in a moment. And what was really cool about this was that we incorporated the contest into the video to be able to take messages from anybody who wanted to share the reasons why they're proud to be a nurse, why they nurse, what nursing means to them, and all of our pediatric members. And then we were able to incorporate those and put together this little great initiative. So on this particular video that we shared, we had 387 Facebook views, 330 views on Instagram, and 571 on Twitter. So this year we also hosted an online AGM. We had a guest presenter on pediatric vaccination and how the COVID-19 pandemic is going to impact the implementation of vaccination amongst the populations that we serve. And that was really, really well received. We had great feedback. And I think, again, this new virtual world that we're living in gave people the opportunity to attend this presentation that may not have previously been able to come. So our presenter was actually presenting from Montreal. He didn't have to come all the way anywhere to present at this presentation, and had some really great insight into what we can be doing as nurses to really move that work forward. And we also recently have launched a merchandise site online. So we had a really big call for some of the students that came to our workshops brought money because they wanted to represent that they are interested in pediatrics and pediatric nursing. So this is actually an example of one of the shirts that we're launching. We have our nursing membership contest that just actually finished yesterday, and then this is going to be going live next week. So we're really excited to share that with our members. And then, as Erin mentioned in Members' Voices today, we also had our whole entire symposium online. So we shifted to an online format, and we actually had a live Q&A just last week, and it was well attended. This was kind of the marketing we used for the PedNIG symposium. So in the past, a lot of members have said to us, it would be really nice to be able to see a calendar of all the events and where they are and what we're kind of looking at joining. So we've really shifted, again, our website to make that content really accessible for people. And so these were kind of just the quick snapshots of, what we were going to see on Instagram and on the website about what you could expect from the symposium, and that we had transitioned to virtual. We actually had 84 registrants for a symposium this year, which is almost exactly the same, if not more, than we have in person some years. So that was really successful for us. And again, it broke down that barrier of geographical distance for a lot of us, especially in a sector like PEDS, where we have large pediatric hospitals across the province, but sometimes geographic location is a really big challenge for us to be able to be well represented across Ontario. So this is just a couple screenshots of what the symposium content actually looked like for any of those who might be interested. We used a platform called Wistia, and so you can post your content, and we released it weekly after people had paid to register for the symposium. So you can see all of the different presentations here, and then it will kind of archive them so that people can go on until the end of the year and actually access that content if they want to go back and rewatch that or share with their colleagues, which is really cool. And then this is just a screenshot from our Q&A with our presenters that we had last week on Monday, and those of us that we were able to get on video. So in terms of platforms, we have Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We also have a LinkedIn page. Again, that's more just to connect with and engage with possible new members, people who might be interested in figuring out a little bit about what we do and how we work together. And it's actually helped us to collaborate with some of the national bodies as well. So just because the Canadian Association of Pediatric Nursing was a little bit dormant for a while and is now revitalizing, we're really the only pediatric group across the province that does this kind of work. And we've been able to network with organizations like Children's Healthcare Canada, who have a significant national and even international presence. So that's been really cool. And then obviously we have our website, which is refreshed as well. So this is an example of one of the nursing contests that we've done, pediatric nursing contests. So we have recently just completed a contest that closed yesterday. It was a giveaway for people who wanted to nominate their pediatric nurse heroes, and Erin mentioned that this morning. And so you can see, again, the graphics are really just eye-catchy. And so our new social media officer, just like Hannah, is really excellent at being able to kind of design what's going to be really kind of eye-grabbing. You can see also we've been pretty active on Twitter. We're able to share some of the content of different meetings, conferences, and events that we're attending. So even if that's virtually, we're able to disseminate that information as well. This is just an example of the calendar that we implemented. And for anyone who's looking to update your refresh your website, I would really suggest if you can look into embedding that into your website, because I think that's something that a lot of members voiced was really helpful. And then the other page, as I mentioned, was updating, who we are, what we stand for, what our kind of mission and values are, and then the background of the various people on our executive, since we have such a wide breadth and lots of great knowledge and experience from across the board. So this is just a quick little screen grab basically of our Instagram page. So you can see that we try to color coordinate based on kind of the aesthetic overall of our interest group and RNAO to kind of join those things in together. All these pictures that you can see, which you'll see in a moment, of people holding up their signs, this was from our WhyINurse contest in May. And so we posted every day a picture of one of our executive members in hopes of getting other people to submit their photos. And then that was actually what we used. We took them all and put them into a video with different aspects of what is, a day-to-day in the life of a nurse. We also were able to post the giveaway winners. So we were able to engage, again, people on there to know, okay, recognize why you wanted to submit, WhyINurse, why your reason for nursing is important. And then we were able to give out the messaging that way. And then you'll also see at the top here, so that's a photo of all of our, recognizing why we all nurse and the benefits of that. And we sent a little message out. But then after that, we also posted, we sponsored some Nursing Week events at the individual institutions across the province. And so we were able to share that even though we couldn't be there in person. We posted, also you'll see a little bit closer to the top here. That's one of the events at Holland Bloor View here you're seeing right now. You'll see this really cute baby. That's one of our executive, Katie, that's her baby, and she is the sponsored PedNIG baby at the moment. So we had to post her on there because we are a peds group, of course, and she is very cute. And so this is just where we posted our video. So again, you can post it on different platforms and, kind of see where you get the most bang for your buck or the most reach. And then, so just wanted to, this is just a really quick screenshot of what our online merchandise site is going to look like when it goes live next week. So we're really excited. So stay tuned for kind of our stats on that and how that goes. But we've already had tons and tons of messages from members on our various platforms. A lot of them, I will say, Instagram, and personal messages to even our execs saying, wow, this is so great. We're so excited. And we haven't even launched yet. So that's really cool. So just to end it off, I just wanted to share, I was asked to share this video. You guys might have seen it. It was sent out by RNAO back in the spring, but this is our WhyINurse contest video. Sorry, guys, I'm just going to fix this just because it's in a... Are you just seeing my slides probably?
We can,
Yeah.
we can hear the video, but it's not playing. It's just showing the WhyINurse papers still.
We only see the slide.
If you click the share screen button and then you select the window that looks like the video, it should put that forward in front of the PowerPoint.
See, even those of us that are tech savvy sometimes don't get it perfect either. So, oh, there we go. Perfect. Okay. You should be able to see it now. Yes? All right.
Perfect.
We woke up, the world was figured out. Beyond the beauty we dreamt about. This brilliant light's brighter than we've known. With all our darkness to prove it so. So we can't help but to examine it. To add our question marks to periods. At the foot of our bed we found an envelope. You're enough, you're enough, you're enough, you are enough. These little words, somehow they're changing us. You're enough, you're enough, you are enough. So let our shadows fall away like dust.
Hi, I'm Chantal, and I'm the president of PedNIG. This year, we want to say a very, very special thank you to all of you nurses out there. Thank you so much for all of the important work that you're doing. Stay safe and happy nursing week.
You're enough, you are enough. These little words, somehow they're changing us. You're enough, you are enough. So let our shadows fall away like dust. You're enough, you are enough. These little words, somehow they're changing us. Let it go, you are enough. So let our shadows fall away like dust.
I wanted to talk about how to do Zoom meetings, because the one thing I learned from this group was that you can actually do an AGM virtually and have success. And that they got members to attend an AGM that had never attended ones before for their chapters and executive and interest groups, which was really, really good information. So I'm going to hand this over now to Hannah and to Jackie and let them talk about how they hosted their AGM.
Thank you, Janet. So Jacquie Dover, I'm the current chair of CTNIG, the Complementary Therapies Nurses Interest Group. And I've been in this role since November of last year, so still fairly newish and an interesting time to come into the role. So we held what I believe was our first virtual AGM on September 19th using the Zoom platform. So I'm just going to share a few reflections. I don't have any fancy slides or anything like that. I can't compete with my other colleagues, but a few reflections and a couple of tips. So we've used Zoom in the past to hold our regular meetings, and there certainly is a learning curve. There are challenges with Zoom. I empathize with Chantal. Screen sharing, not easy. I've prepared slides and then given up trying to share my screen and just moved on without them in the past because it can be challenging. So practicing is a tip. And another big tip that I've learned, which might seem small, but someone showed me that It's important to look into the camera. I'm not doing it today, but they even said put a little sticker, look here, put it by your camera to remind you that that's, rather than looking at the sky, to remind you to engage with the people that you're talking to. At the Complementary Therapies Nurses Interest Group, one of our current motivations is actually our lead up to our 20th anniversary, which is in 2 years. So in 2022, our group turns 20 years old, and we're planning a big celebration just to let everybody know to watch for that. And so member engagement is really important to, bring back past members and executive and collaborate with our current members. So really looking forward to that prep. And so this is quite the interesting playground with COVID and these virtual environments. So a few of my reflections here. There's so much wisdom in the group is my first one. So immediate past President Kim Watson, one of our founding members, Dr. Neil, huge mentors for me, and they remind me of what has worked in face-to-face settings often will work in online environments. We don't have to worry too much about it being too different. And May past Sinead president has also been a behind-the-scenes mentor for me around moving into this leadership role as well. So big thanks to May as well. So what are we learning at Complementary Therapies Nurses Interest Group? Well, one thing that we're learning is I think really is our values really play a really big role in how we run our virtual meetings. So for the AGM, connection has always been an important part of our group, connecting with each other. And so we often open with a practice in person, like with a meditation or a poem or some kind of a grounding activity. And that is continued in the online environment. So I'm constantly reminded that works in person, it works online as well. It's very important. Another thing I'm learning, and we're all learning, it's okay to make mistakes. So we're going to make mistakes. There's a huge learning curve with virtual environments. Tutorials at the beginning of Zoom meetings help. So with our AGM, it's helpful to remind people how to raise the hand, how to mute, how to turn your camera on, all those little tips. Just take a few minutes at the beginning to do that. The things we're still figuring out, like things around safety issues, especially when you're meditating, like you have your camera on or off, the ground rules about who can record or not record, whether people can take screenshots. So there's still a lot of things that we're still exploring. One of the things that I'm learning, the people that know me know that I'm a pretty quiet person. And when I first started with this group, I learned that, wow, a lot of the executive are not quite as quiet as I am. There are a few other quiet ones in my group, so thankful for that. And so one thing that I found that Zoom has offered us is an opportunity to practice our communication skills. What an incredible playground to practice effective communication, kind speech, deep listening, people coming into the space and speaking that don't normally speak, people creating room for other people to speak. It's an incredible playground for us to explore that. And with our AGM in September, we tried to give a role to each member of our executive. So people took on little components. And we even tried to do a little networking activity, but like face-to-face meetings, we never give enough time for networking. So it always seems to get cut. But there are a few things I'm looking forward to learning how to include in our meetings. So another thing, people that know me know, but I tend to be a pretty serious person. My group, thankfully, there are a lot of people that have a little bit more energy. So you often find me at a party at the back smiling, whereas others are the life of the party. So I rely on other members of my group to really bring the fun to the group and the creativity. So we're working together to bring some of that. The activities like ones I love is where you throw a virtual ball, and you throw it to the next person and they catch it. And just to bring a little bit of silliness to the meetings, because this is a hard time for so many of us. I mean, I'm one of the COVID nurses in Peel, and this is the work weekend for me, taking some time off to attend due to the flexibility of my employer. And given a difficult time, there's difficulty, but there's also joy, and to remember to laugh, have fun, embrace, to celebrate, come together, be silly. And so we hope to add some more of this to our meetings. And just in conclusion, one member that attended our AGM said that she really liked this online version. It was the first event that she'd been able to attend, given her work schedule and the travel distance. And so we've heard this a few times already, how this does create opportunities. And Morgan already mentioned the benefits of online environments, that silver lining of online collaboration, that there are some true gifts here. And yeah, I think I'm going to leave things there. Thank you.
So thank you, Jackie, for sharing those things, for Chantal and to Kathleen, for letting us know just while COVID is here, this is a format that we're going to use. We have to embrace it. We have to learn it. You've given us some really good tips and tricks of how we can engage with members. And I personally thank you for helping me re-energize and get back onto the horse, so to speak.